Hi, my name is Nicole Foster, and welcome to the Hippie Theologian. So today we're discussing Genesis 6, also along with Enoch, the whole narrative about the Nephilim, the Shining Ones, looking also at this story through cultural and historical lenses. So let's take a look at what we have for today, and that is we're going to look at all of these things. Many times, churches are afraid to tackle this subject, and that's okay, but we will not be afraid to. So let's talk about what happens, or what happened in all these stories that we see, okay? So let's take a look at Genesis 6 first. So Genesis 6, when man began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, okay, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives as they chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he, let's go back real quick, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. Okay, so what do we do with that? So we have, it seems like there's two scenarios where these beings or angels or Elohim really come down. We hear of a story where they come down with Satan or the Satan or Lucifer. It talks about a third of heaven being kicked out with him. And here we have these angels or these Elohim, or sometimes it's translated as the Shining Ones, watching the daughters of man, so human women. They're watching them, they're attracted to them, and they want to experience what human males are experiencing in conjunction with these human women. So let's take a look and see where this is going. All right, so Genesis 4, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children with them. These are the mighty men who are of old. Okay, the men of renown. So what does that mean? Okay, so Nephilim, these people on the earth, what are they? Who are they? And it says they are, this happens when the sons of God came into the daughters of man and they bore children unto them. So these Nephilim seem to be hybrid people who are half angelic or half godlike or half shining one, and who are half human. And they seem to come out as people that are great strength, have great power, that are big. Okay, some translations talk about giants being on the earth. So these are sons of, or children of, these angels that apparently came down and slept with human women, and their offspring, their progeny are these people, the men of renown. Now, what is that? How can we look at the world, kind of scan the globe and see where this might be true? Many ancient cultures have, a pantheon of gods who seem to be, half human, like human emotions and, walk on 2 feet, but they also seem to be very powerful and very unique, so unique that regular humankind are scared of them. Okay, they're scared of them. They can't compete. They can't, tame them or overcome these hybrid people, these Nephilim. So usually, some people kind of see this throughout the globe as these are the people, these hybrid people that Genesis 6 is talking about, are the people that become, these early gods of certain cities and kings of certain cities and places, because they have the power, they are strong, they are big, and so they're revered and they are known to be not fully human. Okay, let's continue on. Let's look at more narratives that kind of coincide with Genesis. So Numbers 13:33, we see the Nephilim appear again. Okay, so what is this talking about? So Numbers 13:33, here's our Nephilim. Okay, there we saw the Nephilim, or the Anakites, or come from the Nephilim, and to ourselves we seem like grasshoppers, and so we seem to them. So here they are about to cross into the land of Canaan, but they're scared. The Hebrews are scared because there's this the Anakites, or people that are sons of this person who is known to produce Nephilim, or this is a family group that are of Nephilim, or a tribe. They are big, they are mighty, and so they are odd. They are not normal. And so the Hebrews are scared. Some of the spies are scared to go into the land of Canaan because here here comes these hybrid people, or these are the progeny of these hybrid people that are we can't compete, but with God, we shall overcome. So where else do we see this? So yes, we've looked at biblical story in Genesis and Numbers, but let's also you've got to look at the cultures that surround Israel. Ancient Near Eastern context, North African context. So where else are we seeing remnants of this? Okay, be honest. We see remnants of this in earlier stories in Genesis. That scares some people, but it shouldn't. It kind of causes rejoicing because it's kind of letting people know that this is not exclusive to the Bible or Genesis. There's something happened on earth. This makes it more true when you find it other places. There's something happened on earth that each civilization is trying to tell or relay the story in their own context, in their own culture, and through their own linguistic testimony. So what happened? What narrative are in stories that are surrounding Israel? You've got to remember, Israel is in a geographical location. Yes, there are people unto Yahweh, but they also are in a culture setting. They're not in a culture unto themselves. They are in a culture setting. So let's look at this Middle Eastern, ancient Near Eastern context and culture to see where these narratives are coming from. And they're much earlier than Genesis. So according to the Sumerian creation myth, angels were known by the name Anunnaki, okay, or Ananaj, great sons of Anu, and they were founders of their culture. So, in Sumerian, they're of Anu. Akkadian also was the chief god of the sun and sky, and his name means the shining one. The Anunnaki, therefore, were the sons of the shining one. Okay, so again, you have this in Sumerian culture, and then Akkadian culture. Okay, so Sumerian, Mesopotamia, particularly lower Mesopotamia. When I say lower, southern, then you have this story rise up again in a little different shape in Akkadian culture, which is a little more, it takes over the region, but it pushes a little more north. Now, who is telling the story? Traditionally, we always say, well, Moses wrote Genesis. Well, okay, Moses is getting the story from somewhere. Okay, Moses appears. You got to remember, Moses appears after Abraham, or Abram, or Ibrahim. He appears after. So Abraham, where is Abraham coming from? If he is the patriarch of the faith, of Judaism, of Christianity as well, stemming from Judaism, and even Islam, where is Abraham coming from? Okay, we always say Abraham. We say Ur of the Chaldeans, and that's written in some translations in the Bible. Okay, and we always like to say Ur, that is in South Iraq. as being the location of where Abraham and Sarah are coming from. And we do that because there was some big archaeological dig, in the 20th century, where they find all these archaeological artifacts in this location of Ur in southern Iraq. However, if we look closely at scripture, it doesn't seem quite that Abraham is coming from southern Ur. It seems that he's coming from a northern Ur. And that city may be named today ancient Urfa, which is close to Haran, which is close to another archaeological dig called Globoteki. Globotepe. I keep saying it wrong, Göbekli Tepe, which is actually in southern Turkey, the Syria area, the border between Turkey. Some people may call this Old Kurdistan. And it says in the scripture, Abraham, tells Isaac to go to my people in Haran and pick a bride from there, he tells the servant that, and they find Rebecca from the same family. So this is southern Turkey, the northern part of the Euphrates and the Tigris. And their names, Abraham and Sarah, or Abram and Sarah, even the father's name, Terah, seems to be that based off of, or linguistic derivations of, the moon god that was worshipped in largely the area, the moon god Sin, or the moon god Ai. So their names are derivatives of moon worship, which would come out of this area. Okay, so it seems like Abraham is coming from the northern part of Mesopotamia, so today Turkey, northern Syria. So what does that mean about the story? The story is, Abraham is getting this story from his own culture context, which is getting it from an earlier culture context of probably the Sumerians. So this is a regional story that it keeps going in a circular motion of something happened, and each culture, as it conquers in one culture and another, or this geographical region, is telling a story of something that happened, but they're telling it in their own words. And we can also see this as we move on later down into Genesis with Noah. Noah seems to also be based off the story of Gilgamesh. So there's some kind of flood, okay? And there's some kind of beings that are coming down from heaven. Now, where can we find detailed information like this? Let's keep looking. Let's find out. Okay, there's the shiny ones. All right. Yes, we're gonna look at Enoch. Okay. And I will be honest about Enoch. Okay. Enoch is biblical canon in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and in the Eritrean Orthodox Church. It is not canon. It is not canon in most Western churches. Okay, so many churches in the West. I'm out of the Anglican tradition. Was raised in the non-denom tradition. You didn't come across Enoch, but I did notice growing up that Enoch was footnoted. Okay, in Genesis 6 and Jude and stuff like that. Enoch was footnoted. So where is this book that we kind of threw out as canon? But we, the West, but this is still canon in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and the Eritrean Orthodox Church. So here's the detailed kind of version of Genesis 6 and where Genesis 6 is coming from. So Enoch 6, okay, and it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied in those days, and were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Simjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. Okay, that is much more detailed. Okay, so there's a name of angel, Semyaza. Okay, there is conversation between these angels of what is happening in Genesis 6. Okay, tradition has it that they're looking off a mount. They come down off a mountain. But here you have a conversation, and Semyaza is watching these women. Are these the watchers that many people talk about, and we'll talk about that later. But Semyaza is watching, and other angels are watching, and Semyaza is like, hey, let's go down, but I don't want to go down by myself. Like, I know this is a sin, and I don't want to be the only person that gets punished for this. So they know there's a punishment. They know that that in the end, they are not in charge. That's really what they're saying. They're not in charge. They know there's a divine judgment or punishment, and they know that this is a sin to do, but they want to do it anyway. They willfully sin against the Most High. They're not to leave their domain, but yet they're lusting so much after these women that they leave. Okay. So what does the rest of the story in Enoch look like? So Enoch 6, and they all answered him and said, okay, let us all swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then, okay, swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared, okay, on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn, okay, they swore and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And here were the names, okay, and these are the names of their leaders. So Semyaza, their leader, okay, Arakiba, Ramiel, Kokobael, Tamiel, Ramael, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barakwal, Azael, Emeros, Betariel, Ananiel, Zakiel, Sampsepiel, Saturel, Terel, Yamael, Seriel. Okay, these are the chiefs of the tens. So, okay, what does that look like? And let me show you the scripture here. So they're coming down off Mount Hermon. They're running towards these women. Okay, they're lusting so bad over these women that they leave their domain. They sin, they rebel. They're coming down off of this mountain. And these are the names. So there's 20 chieftains. So there's 20 angels that are in charge of 10 angels each. So there's an order. Okay, there's an order. And so in this story, in Enoch is saying 200 come down off of Mount Hermon and start sleeping with women. Okay, and who is Enoch? Enoch, if you remember scripture, is the one that walked with God and went straight to heaven. But he apparently is an intercessor between the shining ones, or the angels, and mankind. The shining ones speak to him, or the angels speak to him. They warn him. They would have him warn the angels, which we'll get to in a minute. But this is all detailed in Enoch and in the Book of Jubilees, if you want to pick up that book. But for this segment, I'm just going to focus on the details of Enoch real quick. So we got 200 angels that are running around impregnating women, just causing havoc. So Enoch 7 and all the others together with them took upon themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants whose height was 3,000 ills, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. Oh my goodness. So, okay, sounds like witchcraft, okay, and it also sounds like medicine. So what does this mean? What are they saying? So they're teaching mankind, particularly women, the secrets of the earth, how to what roots do and how to use them. They're teaching them plants, what plants to use for certain things. So they're acquainted with plants. They're teaching which plants do what, charms and enchantments, which the power of the spoken word. I don't, it's sometimes I think including myself, don't understand when we say something. There is implications and kind of a universal ear, God that hears, and goes from there. But they teach them charms, teach them enchantments, teaching them cutting the roots, made acquaintance with plants, and then they have children. Keep having children, and so these secrets that the angels or the shining ones, actually the Nephilim, what shining ones are teaching these women who are having their children, they're not supposed to know. At least they're not supposed to know yet. Okay, but let's go on. What else is being taught here by these angels or these angelic hosts? So 7 again, and women could no longer sustain them. The giants turned against them and devoured mankind. Okay, and they began to sin against the birds. Okay, they began to sin against beasts and reptiles. Okay, sorry, so you can see, and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid acquisition against the lawless ones. So not only these beings that come from another dimension, some people may want to say that angels could be like transliterated or also mean alien because they're not from here. They're not earthly created beings. They seem to exist before, but they're not only just impregnating women, they're messing with God's creation. Okay, they're messing with Yahweh Elohim's handiwork. So some people will say there is some kind of a look at reptiles and birds, and the vertebrae or whatever, and how they're so similar. Were these, is this a evidence of reptiles and birds being messed with? I don't know. There's just so many ways you could go here. Are dinosaurs that? And that's why there's a picture of are dinosaurs that? Or, all of a sudden they're gone, where do they go? There's places, like here in Texas, where there seems to be dinosaur tracks, and then there seems to be human tracks, and it looks like the humans in these tracks are chasing the dinosaurs. So are they being hunted out? But why are they all sudden, is it an asteroid? Is it the ice age? So, they're not here anymore. As we know of their bones that are left over. Those kinds of animals are not here. Were they though, not the interference of the shining ones and the Nephilim on God's creation that God did not want. Okay, so let's continue to look at the rest of the story. So we got enchantments, we got roots, we got messed up animals, and mankind is like, we can't do this. Like they're devouring the earth. It is not working out. Like, are we going to survive? Because these strange hybrid people are here on earth. So Enoch 8, and when Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, okay, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony. I'm sorry, let me go back. Okay. And the beautifying of the eyelids and all kinds of costly stones and all coloring tincture. So not only that, so now they're blaming another, now there's being blame put out on another angel. So the first, we kind of put the story kind of puts the blame on Simyaza. Okay. Now all these angels are teaching all these enchantments and roots and all this, but here comes a name of another angel that is taking blame on it's taking responsibility, or the story's putting responsibility on him as teaching certain things. Okay, now why this angel, we'll see. So Azazel, he's teaching men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, teaching them basically the artwork of war. Okay, and ornaments, makeup, the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones. So this gem is made like this or does this, I don't know, but he's teaching them certain things that the narrative finds it to be important enough for you to know the name of this angel, or the shining one. And apparently it is important enough that it's really messing with mankind. So Enoch 8, okay? And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication. So they just start sleeping with everybody. And I guess everybody also is not commit. A lot of people are not choosing to be committed. So fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. So Semyaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Amaros, the resolving of enchantments, okay, which is interesting. Barakiel taught astrology. Kokabel, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Erakiel, the signs of the earth. Shemzael, the signs of the sun. And Sarael, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and a cry went up to heaven. Okay, so now they know seasons. Now they know constellations and what there's what the meaning of them are. Astrology. So now men are looking up to heaven, not to God, but to the created things, and getting information and signs from that instead of getting signs from creation or information from creation, and learning the secrets that mankind were not supposed to know. So this part of the narrative in Enoch 8 actually mentions other angels and what they were responsible for. Okay, so let's continue the narrative. So Enoch 9. And then Michael, or Michael, which means like unto the Lord, or like unto God, El. No, his name means who, Micha, like El, God. So Michael. Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. Okay, so mankind is like they gotta go help God, help other shining ones or whatever, help, because this is too much. The earth was not created for this. The earth is not created to maintain these beings. So, and they're teaching things that are of the secrets of heaven that the earth either should not know or was not supposed to know yet. They're shedding the blood of men. And so the blood is crying out from the ground, like Abel's blood. It's crying up. And, its inhabitants, are crying up to the gates of heaven. It's reaching. It's so profound. It's so much. It's so numerous. These cries that help us, or of justice against these hybrids and shiny ones that have sinned. So this justice cry is coming up. Okay. So moving right along. So Enoch 10. Okay. And this is interesting. So then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One, spoke and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech and said to him, go to Noah and tell him my name. Hide thyself and reveal him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth and will destroy all that is on it. Okay, and now instruct him that he may escape and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. Okay, so who gets a warning? Okay, who gets a warning from the Most High, and who's supposed to deliver it? Okay, the warning is coming from the Most High. Who's supposed to deliver it? Uriel is supposed to deliver this message to the son of Lamech, who is Noah. So Noah is also receiving messages from these angels or shining ones, not in the same manner, but like Enoch. Enoch is not only receiving messages, but if you read Enoch, the rest of continue in the story, Enoch also intercedes for these shining ones, these angels, because there's a judgment coming. And part of that judgment is this deluge that's coming that Uriel is supposed to tell Noah about. So let's continue on. Oh my, and here it comes. So, and again, the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel. So look at this. Azazel is taking blame. Bind Azazel hand and foot and cast him into the darkness and make an opening in the desert, which is Dudael, and cast him there. Okay. We'll go back. Okay. And place, let's see, cast him into the darkness and make an opening in the desert, which is Dudael, and cast him there, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may see light. And on that day of the great judgment, he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. Very interesting. So it seems like Gehenna or Hades or hell is created not for mankind originally. It's created for these rebellious angels, these rebellious shiny ones. Okay. And notice that the blame is being put on Azazel, not Semyaza, which is interesting. So because of Azazel's transgressions, which seem to be more damaging, the most damaging of the transgressions that all these other angels are doing, versus cutting roots and having children with strange flesh that is not their flesh. They're angelic. The women are human, the daughters of Adam. Azazel's sin seems to be just the pinnacle. It's destructive. And so hell seems to be created, for the shining ones, these rebellious angels, but for Azazel, particularly for Azazel, and all sin should be cast on him, which is interesting. So, what are the lessons that can be learned from this? First of all, don't rebel against the Almighty. But secondly, it is okay. It is wise and is good to look at surrounding cultures, look at the cultural context, look at the historical context, and see, if there's comparisons, if there are differences, to to have a better lens when you look at scripture, and what scripture is meaning and what it's talking about and who it's talking to, what time period are these words being written in, and then what time period are they, what time periods are they being ingested and translated uh, by reading them or hearing these words. So yes, a lot of people get nervous about these Bible studies, but for someone like me, knowing the nerdy parts of historical and culture context makes the story all more true, fulfilling, and it makes someone like me just really worship and be in awe of God, and what has happened on earth, and how He has intervened, even in other cultures and other historical settings. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you like to have any comments or suggestions or correct me on anything, again, this is a study. I do not know all, but I am a studier. And if you're a studier too, join in the study and let's learn together. You can contact me at nicole@thehippietheleologian.com, or you can reach out to me on Facebook at The Hippie Theologian, or on Instagram at The Hippie Theologian. So anyway, thank you so much. Take care. God bless you. Goodbye.